So, how are you all doing? All good? I think we might need just a little bit more energy. Can you all just stand up for me for a second? A little bit of a physical warm-up. Can you all just reach with your right arm like this? Oh yeah, that's good. Then with your left like that, and then turn to the person next to you and give them a big hug. Come on. It's got a bit more love going on here. Good to see. Good to see. That's better. Okay, now, let go of them now. Take a seat, take a seat. Great to see so much man-on-man action going on in the room today. So I have a confession to make. I'm going to talk about how you release your inner creative genius, and yet when I was a child, I was very analytical. In fact, at the age of 16, my studies included maths, pure maths, applied maths, further maths, physics with a sprinkling of statistics on top. So if I needed to make sense of the world, I used analysis. In fact, one of my favorite models for making decisions was pros and cons. Do we have any pros and cons fans in the room? So, admitting it proudly, I like that. But did you use statistical weightings like I did? That's too geeky for most. Now, this way of making sense of the world worked brilliantly for a long time in my life. But then I had to make a decision with my wife. We got together a bit later in life. And some people, they just know they want to have a family. We didn't. So guess what we did? Pros and cons. We tried to make the biggest decision in life analytically. Now, after a while, I was like, darling, I know a little bit about how the brain works, and this isn't going well. What we need to do is we need to get a deeper experiential experience around how we make it. In fact, maybe we should make it real. I don't mean that way, because that's way too late if you try it that way. You can't make it real by borrowing a baby. Yeah? The only way we could make it real was by making a decision. So we did something quite counterintuitive. We decided not to have children. Right? We visualized it, and we locked it in with some NLP visualization techniques, and we lived with it, and we just noticed how we felt. Now, I've got to say I was quite surprised, because the first 2 days, I was bizarrely excited. I started to think about lions at the weekend and exotic holidays, loft apartments, sports cars. It was looking quite good. Then I started to consider, but who will my friends be? What will retirement look like? What will the holidays look like in our family when there's only 2 of us left talking about the same stuff day in, day out? And then I was living in West London at the time, and I found myself around Thursday walking around parks looking longingly at fathers with small children until the police arrived. Slightly awkward. Anyway, after living with this experiment for a week, we then changed our minds. We then made the decision that we wanted to, and we locked that in with the same visualization. And again, we noticed how we felt. And it was like night and day. We'd spent a whole week feeling miserable, and as soon as we changed our minds, we felt fantastic. It was obvious we wanted to have kids. And I'm delighted to say I've got 2 fantastic kids who I am smitten with. Now, what was interesting about the process was we started by thinking it through, using conscious thinking. Now, our conscious brain is very good for analysis. It's very good for rationality. It's very good for logic. It's what we use when we have complex problems in front of us at our desk every day or in our life. It's the part of our brain that we use when we have those little voices in our head. You know those voices? If any of you are going, I don't have voices in my head, that's the voice, okay? We've all got that. So brilliant for rationality, but actually quite limited for overall processing. Now, nobody knows exactly how much of our processing is conscious. I've read books that say it's as little as 5%. There are documentaries that say it could be as much as 15%. We do know it's limited. Our subconscious, on the other hand, has the capacity, they now believe, to remember all the experiences we have in our life. It might be compressed and squashed, but it could all be in there. Therefore, it's by far the biggest source of stimulus we'll have. and it never stops processing. So my belief is, if you want to make better decisions, if you want to do better creative work, you need to get better at feeling. Now, yes, we need to think and have the logic, but we need to supplement it with the subconscious, the intuition, the gut feel. So a lot of my clients would say, that's great. How do we get more feeling into my life every day? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about now. I'm going to talk about that with a little experiment. So you've all got a piece of paper under your chair. I am now going to give you 30 seconds to take that piece of paper and make the best paper aeroplane in your life. 30 seconds starts now. Okay. Some of you are fast. If you've already nailed it, feel free to... That's not a paper plane. I'm coming on to that in a second. By the way, don't fly them yet. Hold on to them. I tell you what, I'm going to give you an extra 5. Some of you need to finish those. Okay. And now hold on to your planes. Hold on to your planes, because I think televisually it will look fantastic with them all in the air at the same time. So on the count of 3, I would like you all to release them. Quick tip. Those people in the front, don't look behind you, okay? Health and safety, okay? So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, go! What have we got? Woo! Wow. Woohoo! Impressive. Woo! This could go on for some time. Beautiful. Some amazing aeronautical engineering going on. So, hold your planes. What have I started? Ah. So, did you enjoy that? I'm sure that some of you, like myself, could do that all day long. You know who I'm talking about. Question is, if we were to do that again, how many of you would change your design a little bit? Yeah, good to be honest. Because I think what you've just done there is absolutely key to tapping your creative genius. We didn't talk about it. We didn't debate the best design. We just did it. What we did is we made it real. We've now got perfect data back if it worked or if it didn't. We now know, if we're going to do it again, how to make it better. And I think that's how you get your subconscious to work better for you, because it's a visceral experience. It's not just logic. I used to have 40-odd trainers working for me around the world, and they were some real cool, hippie maverick folk. Very rarely wore shoes, but were brilliant at what they did. And I remember one Friday night getting the phone call that I never really wanted, and it went a bit like this. Chris, really sorry, we trained the course, it went well, clients are lovely, but their CEO, well, we broke him. I'm okay, what do you mean you broke him? Well, we were outside, the grass was a bit wet, he slipped, he broke his collarbone. But don't worry, we did some Om Shanti Oms and a bit of Reiki, and he's good to go. And I was like, well, I'm glad he's good, but it did strike me that maybe we should teach them some first aid rather than just esoteric practices. So I brought the European team in first for 2 days of first aid training. And I hadn't thought this through, really, because my guy's quite funky. People that train first aid, slightly more traditional. Yeah? So this guy comes in, grey suit, grey tie, slightly grey skin, walks in, goes straight up to a flip chart, draws a picture of an iceberg with a boat hitting it, and says, "What's that?" One of my guys says, "Is it the Titanic?" And he went, "Yeah, breaks the ice, doesn't it?" I'm like, "Shit, I've got him for 2 days. This is a nightmare." Anyway, soon I grew to love this man. He was amazing because he was so committed to us learning and so cheesy with it. It was brilliant. But there was this moment that I'll never forget because he just taught us choking. And what I mean by that is not how to choke, but how to cure it. And at the time, there were 3 stages. So the first stage, which I still think is amazingly sensible, is, are you choking? Which I think is good. Good logic. Second stage is to hit them on the back progressively harder up to 3 times, okay? If that doesn't work, it's the Heimlich maneuver, right? So those are the 3 stages. So he just taught us it. He said, could you put your phone on to emergency services in case this goes wrong? At which point, my interest was piqued. He then got a tissue, put it into a glass of water, put it in his mouth, and went, I was going, are you crazy? This is theory, not practice. Anyway, he started to go pink. Then he went red. Then he went purple with the veins going. So naturally, I leap into action. Are you joking? This is great. He's doing all this. So now I'm incredibly English, okay, so therefore quite polite. So my first slap was more of a tickle, truth be told. Had no impact whatsoever. Second one, I thought, I'll make it a bit harder. Oh, still polite, nothing. The third time I'm thinking, hold on a second, this guy's twice my size. Right, if I don't get this right, it's the Heimlich maneuver, okay? So I take a run up on this one. I'm on the other side of the room, and I hit him, give it everything I've got, and it comes flying out of his mouth, and he breathes air once more. Now, I am sure it was great theater. I'm sure he's done it hundreds of times, and he was perfectly safe. But I'll tell you what, I will never forget how hard you have to hit a big bloke to get something out of their mouth. Yeah? I will never forget those 3 stages, because it's not just logical, it's not just thinking. It's visceral, it's within me. And therefore, I won't have to think about that next, because it's part of who I am. And that is the power of experimenting more, of doing more things. You get it in every cell of your body. Now, I personally think we need to experiment on the projects we work on. We need to try things out, see how they work. If you do that, you will learn faster and you'll get it deeper. But actually, I think the big win when it comes to experimenting is in life. Okay, is in life. Because I think if you experiment more every day, you will wake up. Now, what I mean by that is, I think that large chunks of our life, we are working and living on autopilot. You know when you drive down a road for a long distance, and you get to your destination, and you can't remember large chunks of that journey? We've all had that experience. Well, that happens because the subconscious takes over. Okay, it's very good at doing this. And it does that because our conscious thinking takes loads and loads of energy, which we've all experienced. If we have to do something taxing that takes lots of analysis and concentration, we feel quite tired quite quickly. Our subconscious, on the other hand, is amazingly efficient. Yeah? It's efficient because what it does, instead of working things out from first principles, it looks for past experiences and similarities. And when it spots one, it says, hey, today is like that yesterday, therefore let's do the same. So when you get in that car and you drive down that road, your subconscious goes, hey, I've driven a car, I've seen roads, I'll look after this, which saves energy of conscious thinking, right? The problem with it is, though, that it's not just when we drive cars. The problem is autopilot is kicking into our lives constantly, every day, when we turn up to work, when we're at home with our families, because those habit patterns are just saying, hey, you can look after this. And the problem with that is that we're a little less shiny as a result. Now, we do need our subconscious to run lots of our life, otherwise we'd be exhausted. It's just the level. So habits, they're all around us. In fact, let's just ask you if you've got some habits. How many of you have your side of the bed? You sleep on the same side every night? Even when you're away, or just go crazy? I do starfish when I'm away. Quite like that. You take the same route to work every day, or to college, or wherever you go. Yeah, okay, a lot of you. Killer question. When you go to your favorite restaurant, you have the same meal every time? Usually to avoid disappointment, yeah. Favorite sexual position? Quite a few people admitting that today, I like that. Again, usually to avoid disappointment. It's the same thing. But joking aside, we love these habits. If we do the same routine day in, day out, we don't have to work so hard. The downside is we lose our shine. We lose our consciousness. We lose our opportunity to look around us and say, hey, what's needed here? How can I be more of me and shine more brightly as a result? So I've just started a new experiment. It started 3 weeks ago. We've got thousands of people taking part. It's called the Great Wake Up. And basically, it's lasting a year. We have a new experiment every week. We do it for 4 days at a time, and we see if it helps us wake up. And we've done some fun things so far. We've had, the first week, we just turned off digital notifications. So our phones aren't going, hey, look at me. We go to it on our terms. We had one exercise where we found one person a day in our lives, and we told them what we loved about them, giving us more connectivity and more positivity in our life. Another one that had a profound impact on many people is that they spent the first 10 minutes outside every day with no devices, no distractions, just peace and quiet so they can connect again with who they are and the world in which they live. And we're having some fantastic feedback from this. It's very, very simple stuff. But I think if you experiment every day and you get that little kick where you stop to say, actually, where am I? What should I be doing? What is important to me now? I think we'll lead better lives. So, in summary, if you experiment more on your projects and you make them real, you're going to listen more to your subconscious. You're going to get more feeling, which is going to direct you and give you better ideas. However, if you experiment more in life, then I think you have more of a chance to really be connected to what matters. My dream is with this, by the way, that obviously you all sign up. And we set up a platform. I just got approval for first round funding for a platform yesterday where people can share experiences and also share tips on what they can do with new experiments. So hopefully it will take on a life its own. And my dream is that each one of us just spends a moment every day where we step back from the busyness, we step back from the devices, we take a deep breath, and we appreciate the planet we're on. We feel grateful for the opportunities around us. We connect more deeply with the people who are brilliant that we bump into every day and we may not even notice. And I think by doing so, by taking that breath and having that connection, I think we will have more of a chance to have a more technicolor and extraordinary life. So, I encourage you to wake up. Thank you very much. Thank you.